It's so
Ni-
good.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Where are you located?
I am located in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, yeah. I could use a little bit of that Phoenix weather. I'm in Kansas City.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's cold. It's cold.
Is it
So
cold there?
we're having a cold snap.
I gotcha. Yeah, we're having the same thing.
But normally it's beautiful.
Okay, yeah,
Normally it's beautiful.
yeah.
No, what I tease people is I need a coat in the morning when I leave, and then in the afternoon I can roll around without a coat.
There you go. Good job.
But
Well, I
the
tell you what,
summers
I'm
are incredibly hot.
yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Desert living. Well, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out. And I would like to begin our conversation with, we're on the 4-year anniversary of living through a pandemic. How did you get through the pandemic and how did it change you?
Oh, hence the hence me moving to Arizona. By the way, you guys, my name is Win. I have cerebral palsy, and how I got through the pandemic is well on the 4-year anniversary as we record this, and um, how I got through the pandemic is with a lot of hope, and there was light at the end of the tunnel because in 2020 I decided to sell my dad's house and moved to Phoenix, Arizona. I got an amazing housing opportunity that I couldn't turn down, and due to my disability, which is cerebral palsy is lack of oxygen at birth. And so I'm now in a condo complex built for people with disabilities, all types of disabilities. I mean, I have next door neighbors with um, disabilities that are rare conditions. I have next door neighbors with disabilities such as Downs. I have next door neighbors who are fully autistic. I have next door neighbors with dementia. I have next door neighbors with CP. I'm the only one in here with CP, which CP is more physical than mental. But it's a great community and I love it. And I love Phoenix, Arizona, even though on summer days, Phoenix drives me nuts.
Yeah, yeah. So you're a disability rights advocate.
Yes, I am. I am a disability rights advocate and a self-taught journalist. I'm still working on my degree in journalism, but so right now I am a disability rights advocate and I stand for all disabilities, especially women with disabilities. And I host a podcast called a CEO of a Disability, found everywhere podcasts can be found. And so, yeah.
Excellent. So, my son's actually on the autism spectrum, so I'm there. There's a level of familiarity that I have with the community, so I'm always grateful for all of those that are advocates and that are trying to help people out there. It's very necessary.
I believe it's necessary myself. I started all this after my mom died in 2010. And so here I thought that podcasting was going to be a fun little side project. Here I thought the books were going to be a fun little side project. So no, the fun little side projects turned into the little green monster that I can't control. The reason why I call it the little green monster with love is because green is national color of cerebral palsy.
Okay. So, talk to me a little bit about growing up. How did you deal with this, and how did you get to a point where you wanted to be an
Well,
advocate?
I grew up without the Americans with Disabilities Act, number one. By the time I went to school, I there was no such thing as the ADA. When the ADA was enacted, it was in the 90s. Well, I went to school in 91. So I was very, very, very blessed to have educators that had training and had training before they met me, before I went to school, and then they met me in the course of teaching me. So they knew what to do with me. Right from the get-go, I also had a one-on-one aid, which was not provided by the school, because when you're going to private school, and there's still is a fact today, when you're going to private school and you have a disability, you as the family has to pay for the one-on-one aid. The private school does not provide the one-on-one aids. I was very lucky that I got my diagnosis as early as I did, because that helped a lot. But at the same time, Aspen, Colorado, where I'm originally from, and the ADA Act and the sports don't mix. And the sports of the disabled, the supports of finding doctors that had any clue about cerebral palsy don't mix. So hence, during the pandemic, well, let me back up. During 2019, my life became interesting mud puddle, and my dad died in 2019. My mom died in 2010. If the 2010 death didn't rock the world, which it did, it kind of rocked my world, because moms are always taking the kids to the doctor and doing the motherly stuff. And my mom and I were close, but after losing my dad, my world rocked even further. So I landed up in an interesting mud puddle. I was halfway climbing out of that mud puddle when I got squished back down into mud, because I got emotionally and physically abused by a family member. And 85% of women, I just found this out yesterday, 85% of women with disabilities are emotionally and or or some sort of abuse, whether it's emotional, physical, sexual, the list goes on and on. So then I got squished back down into the mud, and then my family tried to stick me in group home. They say it was my option. Well, my option was no thank you. They wanted to take control of me and my financial resources. My option was no thank you. And this is after they abused me. After they tried to take control of me and control of my financial resources. My mom's sister abused me, and who happened to be my godmother. And I think in the Catholic Church, it says when parents die, you must help the child. It didn't say in the Catholic Church, when parents die, abuse that child. No way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no way, you're not taking control of my financial resources, let alone me. And we had to go to court over that. And the judge said, no way. Wynn is competent. And even though Wynn requires help, we'll let her have the help that excuse me,
No,
that
you're fine.
he needs. And then we will just take it from there, and then we will just deal with it from there. And so the judge did that. He didn't put me under custody of anyone, including my stepmom. And my stepmom at the time wanted my house. She also wanted to take control of me and my money. And thank God my dad said one of his quotes um, was, "We won't get married until Wynn's financial resources come in." And my financial resources is my mom left me a little bit of money to support my lifestyle, mainly to support my care. And she left me a little bit of money, which I'm blessed and grateful for. And then my dad, because it didn't come quick enough, my dad didn't get married, which thank God he did, because then we would have a real problem with my stepmom at the time being on the deed of my house. Because me trying to sell a house with help, and my stepmom being on the deed, it would have been a mess and a half. So what I decided to do in 2019 is sell my house, because I knew my dad was gravely ill. I knew that he was not going to come home or come home disabled and need to sell the house anyway. So what I tried to do is sell the house in 2010 after my mom died. Well, that didn't happen. And so I sold my house in 2020 when I told my stepmom that I was selling my house. She turned around and didn't talk to me for 2 days, which that was fun. Because she was still grieving the loss of her fiance, and she hadn't moved on from that. And so she was still grieving the loss of her fiance. And then when I moved, all the help that I had that she was also using left because I left. And so when I moved on my own down to Phoenix, Arizona, her world rocked again because she had no full-time job. And then which she still does, and then she had no help. She had no me, which, yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about who's kind of been a hero for you in your life.
Oh, my mommy, because I started all this. And not my stepmommy, my biological mommy. My biological mommy was the huge champion behind me. My biological mommy inspired me to write one book, but she also gave me an idea for another book slash inspired me to write another book, which is coming out. I had to get in the comfy space to write it, but in I'm an author of 11 books, which can all be found on my website. And so the original book, Win, WIN, is the memoir that I wrote about my childhood.
So what do you do as a disability rights advocate? What is it you do on a regular basis?
Oh, why go fight governments if the day entails? I speak to people about disability awareness. I primarily speak to people about disability awareness through my podcast, and I sit on many boards for different organizations, including the Episcopal Church in Arizona, to make all Episcopal churches in Arizona more handicap friendly. And so I sit on the board of my independent living center down here, and I just bang the drum.
So what is your inspiration every day to do all of this work and to do the things you do?
My inspiration every single day is just to get up, put one foot in front of the other. And my inspiration every single day was was my mom, because when I was born back in '87, got the diagnosis. My poor mom, she barely had Google. She barely had Google.
Yeah.
And so this is why I want to start and continue all this, because the parents that have now come to me, the podcast listeners, it's all about disability awareness. I mean, they can put research into autism, research into cerebral palsy, all they want, but when it comes to United Cerebral Palsy, United Cerebral Palsy, I've found out, doesn't want to do enough awareness. I tried to team up with them to do a Kona IronMan with my teammate at the time, and they didn't want anything to do with us. And I'm still trying to go back to Kona to win the Kona Ironman as a woman with cerebral palsy. And for those of you who are triathletes, yes, I'm a disabled triathlete. And yes, I work with the team B Tri for us, which is out of Sarasota, Florida. So it's a distance for me, but they met me over 10 years ago now, and they wanted to invite me back. So in December, I flew down to Florida, did a triathlon, and am trying to go back and compete in Kona, and then I'll be retired from that officially. And then I will continue the work I'm doing. But for right now, I'm being a little bit of a hermit because I have a back surgery coming up April 23rd. That was a whole story in itself. And medical advocacy win does again, because I told the I told the back specialist down in Phoenix, something is wrong with my back. And they go, "Oh no, you have scoliosis, you're fine." And I said, "Yes, I do. I have scoliosis. I didn't know that." And that's what happened in 2006. That's why I had scoliosis surgery originally. But I feel like something's wrong with my back. I want to go get x-rays. And they go, "Well, we'll give you the x-ray artist. Go get x-rays, go and bring it back to us." Well, by the time they looked at the most recent x-rays, they said, "Oops, something is wrong with back. The lower part of my fusion did not take, did not fuse. So my back, I have a screw attached to my bone, and because it had to attach somewhere, it had, and so yeah, so I live with a chronic pain disability as well, on and off. And so I opted in to have back surgery because we tried everything else. We tried injections. Injections didn't help me at all. We tried everything else, and now we can't keep putting band-aids over the wounds and expecting hope. So on April 23rd, they're going in, starting at 7:30 a.m. to open up my back again, and I have to start the process of my back healing all over again. Trust me, it's my third back surgery, so I'm used to this. But the thing I'm not used to is having great medical care doing my back surgery. That's the thing I'm not used to.
So what are you the proudest of that you've done so far in your life?
I am the proudest of that I am able to keep the podcast going, and it hasn't, well, it's taken breaks here and there, but it hasn't pod faded.
So if anyone wants to get your books, they want to listen to your podcast, reach out, learn
Oh,
more
they
about
can
you.
go to my website, they can go to my website, Google my name. My website is a CEO with a disability at webelieve.com, and they can just Google my name and find I Come a Win on Amazon. And then if you scroll to the bottom of the page, it says follow this author, click the follow button, and then you get emails on what books I'm releasing. And then my next book is how to do a podcast, because people keep asking me that all the time. How do you do a podcast with a disability when you have to control your own disability, but yet you're doing all this wonderful work?
That's excellent. Win, this has been very inspirational. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your creativity. Thanks for your time today. Best of luck with
You
everything.
are welcome. You are welcome.
Thank you. Take care.